In June 2021, the police raided a warehouse in Benoni and pulled boxes of contraband cigarettes off a truck. Suspects on the ground, photographs taken, and on paper, a good day for law enforcement. Yesterday, the Madlanga Commission showed who actually put that raid together, and it read the answer straight off the phone of a general the evidence leader described as an officer whose job it is to police the illicit tobacco market. That same phone connects him to a dead man, a former police reservist whose sworn testimony ties to a torture killing, and who allegedly told the men standing over the body to call General Khan to fix it. Today I'm taking you through those messages one by one, because they answer a question South Africans have been asking for years. When the police finally do act, who chooses the target? Thank you to every subscriber who supports this channel. It is always appreciated. And if you are new here, I'm Riaan Roux, and this is the Riaan Roux Show. Some context before the messages because it matters for how you weigh everything that follows. Major General Feroz Khan is the suspended crime intelligence officer who was shot outside his Houghton home on 28 June, roughly 48 hours before he was due to testify at this commission. I covered that shooting in detail on this channel. Khan is in hospital. He has not testified. He has not answered for any of this. And everything you are about to hear is untested allegation, drawn from evidence the commission says came off his own seized phones. The man leading this evidence is Advocate Matthew Chaskalson, and the chats were extracted from 2 iPhones seized during a raid on Khan's home in May. Khan went to the court to keep those devices away from the commission. He capitulated and withdrew that challenge in June, and within weeks of the phones opening up, he was shot. I'm stating the timeline, and only the timeline, so the commission is doing something unusual. It is reading a general's private messages into the public record while the general lies in a hospital bed. What came off those 2 phones tells 2 stories. The first is about a man named Wiandre Pretorius. The second is about cigarettes. By the end of this video, you will see they are the same story. Start with Pretorius. He was a former police reservist, and earlier in this commission's life, a protected witness known as Witness D said Pretorius belonged to a criminal theft and extortion gang made up of members of the Ekurhuleni Metro Police. Witness D said this gang tortured a man named Emmanuel Mbense to death during one of its operations. And Witness D said that when the group stood debating what to do with the body, Pretorius suggested they call General Khan to fix it. That was one witness making one claim, and on its own you could dismiss it as a name thrown into a story. Yesterday, the commission started showing why that name might belong in the story.
We heard testimony from the late Witness D that Mr. Pretorius was part of a gang that was essentially a criminal theft and extortion gang comprising several members of the EMPD. And in particular, Witness D testified that Mr. Pretorius was part of the group responsible for torturing Mr. Emmanuel Mbense to death during one of the operations of this gang, and then suggested that they should call General Khan to fix it when they were debating what to do with the body of the man they had just killed.
January 2021, Khan posts a birthday photo of himself standing next to a man. A contact asks who that is. Khan answers with one word, Wiandre. The contact says, okay, cool, his birthday. Khan says, mine bro. So by January 2021, the general and the man from Witness D's testimony were close enough to share a birthday photo.
We see the General Khan in a chat with another person who is, and that we, posts a happy birthday picture of himself next to a man who is in fact Mr. Pretorius. And we've identified Mr. Pretorius independently, but that in fact is confirmed by General Khan himself, because after some questions from his counterparty in this chat, which take a while to decode because they are full of, there's a big typo in the middle of them. The counterparty writes his Che, and what he wants to say is who's that? He follows that with that, and if you go over the page to 1895, General Khan responds Wiandre. And the counterparty says, okay, cool, his birthday, and General Khan says, mine, bro.
Later that same month, on 14 January, an officer messages Khan. The officer's name has not been made public, and the commission displayed a redacted copy. The message, sent at 14:33, said, "Hi General, with your permission, I'm issuing Wiandre with a permit. Just letting you know." Khan says there is no problem. The officer then adds a line that should stop you. "We need team players on our side." What permit? The commissioners asked exactly that. Chaskalson said the commission does not know what the permit is, whether it was lawfully issued, or what it purported to allow Pretorius to do. A former reservist, tied by sworn testimony to a torture killing, gets issued some kind of permit on the personal say-so of a crime intelligence general. That is the paper trail as it stands.
14 January at message time 14:33, the officer says, "Hi General, with your permission, I'm issuing Wiandre with a permit, just letting you know." We won't then display the next message, where the General says, "Hi so-and-so, no problem." And then over the page, the officer says, "We need team players on our side."
Then it gets visual. On 10 May 2021, a man named Mohammed Sayed, a director of the tobacco company Carnilinx, sends Khan a video. The video shows Pretorius standing next to an unmarked car fitted with blue lights. Khan's response: "He's looking sharp."
In the chats between Mr. Sayed and and General Khan, and it is a video that Mr. Sayed sends to Mr. Khan, which we'll display because it's a video that he sends of Mr. Pretorius next to an unmarked car with blue lights.
Say this is sent by
Mr. Sayed
to General Khan.
to General Khan.
Thank you.
And General Khan's response is he's looking sharp.
5 days later, 2 more videos of Pretorius with blue lights. Sayed captions them. "That's how we roll, boys in blue." Khan says, "Too good, bro. Look at who is in this conversation." A cigarette company executive is sending a crime intelligence general videos of a former reservist driving around with blue lights, and the general is complimenting the outfit.
A few days later, Mr. Sayed sends 2 more videos of Mr. Pretorius with blue lights. That's on the 15th of May at page 5873. It's the media files at 10:01:44 message time. We don't seem to have volume, but I know from my experience of that video, it comes with sound as well, at the sound one expects in a vehicle with a blue light. And Mr. Sayed follows up those 2 videos at the top of 5874 with a message to General Khan: "That's how we roll, boys in blue."
The Commission's reading of the chats is that Khan placed Pretorius with Sayed, where his work would be raiding the competitors of Carnilinx in the illegal tobacco market. On 21 June 2021, Sayed asks Khan, "Roux, won't Shaheen get upset that W is resigning? Will you please handle it for me when the time comes and tell him that you placed him by me for other reasons?" Khan says, "I discussed it with Wiandre. We have a plan." Who is Shaheen? The commission is asked. Chaskalson said the commission thinks it knows and will establish it with certainty before the inquiry ends.
Do we know, or will it become apparent, who is Shaheen in this scheme, if it matters at all?
We think we know. It will become, certainly before this commission ends, we will have established with certainty.
But listen to the structure of that exchange. A cover story is being arranged in advance to explain why a man is where he is. That is handler language. Now the raid I opened with. At the top of page 6038, Khan messages Sayed, "Wiandre has a lead on a big cigarette bust on the East Rand. Maybe give him a call." Chaskalson paused the hearing right there because he wanted everyone to register what that message is.
And there at the top of the page, General Khan messages Mr. Sayed, Slam's brother, "Wiandre has a lead on a big cigarette bust on the East Rand. Maybe give him a call." And I just want to pause there so that we can contextualize what we're looking at. We're looking at a crime intelligence general calling an executive in the tobacco industry saying that someone who they both know has a lead on a cigarette bust on the East Rand, and so the tobacco industry executive should give him a call. And it requires some explanation, because one would imagine that if a bust is taking place in an industry, one doesn't notify players in the industry, even if they're competitors, while that bust is taking place. It's something for the police to do, not for the industry to be told about.
We are looking at a crime intelligence general telling an executive in the tobacco industry that someone they both know has a lead on a cigarette bust, so the executive should give him a call. A bust is something for the police to do, and one does not notify players in the industry while it is taking place. Then come the voice notes, played into the record one by one. Pretorius, on his way to Benoni, saying the truck has arrived and they are busy offloading the cigarettes. Sayed asks Khan, "Must I send the boys there to Benoni as well?" Chaskalson said, "The commission does not know who these boys are. Police officers or private muscle controlled by a cigarette company. No one can currently say." Pretorius again, saying he has spoken to a colonel who is with the general. "I want the big brass to be there so they can assist us and take over the scene." And then the voice note that tells you the spirit of the operation. Let's hit them hard.
Then there are a series of voice notes that are sent by Mr. Sayed to General Khan, some of which are forwarded voice notes that Mr. Pretorius has sent to Mr. Sayed, and we'll play them through one by one. So starting with the first one.
No, he sent me a message also. He sent me a voice.
So that's Mr. Sayed telling General Khan that Mr. Pretorius has sent him a message too. He's on his way to a place in Benoni for the bust. And Mr. Sayed has told Mr. Pretorius that he will dispatch the boys. So there are some boys who Mr. Sayed controls who apparently are going to be part of this bust as well. Whether they are police or private agents of Mr. Sayed or Carnilinx, we do not know.
truck just arrived now. Fuck, the truck arrived. They're busy offloading the cigarettes now in Benoni. I'm rushing there. I'm going to quickly pick up the informant to show me the place.
That's a message that Mr. Pretorius has sent to Mr. Sayed, and he has now forwarded it to General Khan.
Hey, listen, must I send the boys there to Benoni as well? I can send them as well to Benoni.
And that we understand to be Mr. Sayed. We may be wrong saying that he can send the boys to Benoni.
Okay, let me just pick up the informant quickly and ID the place. I've just spoke to Colonel Singh now as well. He's with the general. We're quickly going to arrange people so we can head there, because you know if it's in a warehouse, there's going to be a lot of cops involved there. So I want the big brass to be there so they can assist us and take over the scene.
That again is Mr. Pretorius saying he has spoken to a Colonel Singh who is with General Khan, and he wants General Khan to be there because he wants Big Brass there to be able to take over the scene. There is a message just okay from Mr. Sayed to General Khan, and then a series of further messages that he forwards from Mr. Pretorius to General Khan.
Let's hit them hard. Let's hit them hard. I'm rushing to pick up the informant quickly so he can show me the place. We're going to moor them hard today.
That message speaks for itself. It's Mr. Pretorius.
But you must come there. And you must try for the general also to come out.
So he wants both Mr. Sayed and General Khan to come.
Hey, arrange with the general, then you come here, man.
Arrange with the general so that you can come there. There's then a call from Mr. Sayed to General Khan. Those earlier messages are at 11:23. At 11:24, there's a call that isn't answered.
Then the photographs. People lying on the ground, apparently arrested. A truck loaded with plastic bags of sweets, and behind the sweets, boxes holding cigarette packs. There is even a reference to a video where Pretorius describes cigarettes hidden underneath packs of sweets and bananas.
Do we need a disclaimer here? I mean, these are people lying on the ground. They don't appear to have been shot.
Yeah, I think it's fine.
And Khan's response to all of it at page 6069. Great work, brother. Sayed says it is all thanks to Khan. Chaskalson stepped back at this point and gave the commission the plain meaning. He said, what we have is a crime intelligence officer whose job it is to police the illicit tobacco market, complimenting a player in that market for essentially doing the work of crime intelligence against a competitor of his.
And again, this is something that I think we need to step back at and consider. What we have is a crime intelligence officer whose job it is to police the illicit tobacco market, who is complimenting a player in the tobacco market for essentially doing the work of crime intelligence in relation to a competitor of his. And it looks very much like what is going on here is that the crime intelligence resources are being used to enable Carnilinx to take out a competitor or to raid a competitor in the name of the law.
Crime intelligence resources are being used to enable Carnilinx to raid a competitor in the name of the law. If Benoni could still be read as a once-off, the next chats remove that option. 11 June 2021. Sayed sends Khan the location of a competitor called Protobac, a factory in the old Union Cotton Mills building in East London, manufacturing the Pacific and Pegasus brands. His message ends, I need to F them out of sight. Khan's full reply, okay bro. A month later, Sayed forwards Khan an official SAPS tweet celebrating a successful raid on the Protobac factory. And then something that should worry you more than the raid itself. Sayed forwards what looks like an extract from the SAPS register of goods detained. 152 boxes of raw tobacco at 200 kilograms each, and 1,127 boxes of cut rag at 200 kilograms each. He writes underneath, Proto Tobacco, all seized.
At 6185, a month and a bit later, Mr. Sayed sends to General Khan a SAPS tweet recording a successful raid at the Protobac factory. And he says underneath that on 6186, this is the same effer in East London, Protobac, that's busy with S ... there. Govinder's guys must seize it. Mr. Sayed sends to General Khan a tweet issued by SAPS, which describes a raid on Protobac. Not only does he forward the tweet, but he also forwards what looks like an extract of a SAPS register of what has been seized. Because if we see the next chat, also on 23rd of July, 126.13, and we zoom in there, what it shows is particulars of the goods detained. And it says 152 times 200 kilogram boxes of raw tobacco, 1127 times 200 kilograms of cut rag. And he says underneath, Pro Tobacco, all seized.
He then says these people are doing funnies via a bond store, and that next week they are going to pounce on the bond store. Next week, a private businessman with advance notice of a coming operation against his competitor, down to the target and the timing. He even prices the damage, saying Protobac is looking at penalties of 120 bar. That is 120 million rand.
Seems these people are doing funnies via a bond store. This is all Mr. Sayed, and he says next week they're going to pounce on the bond store. So he's been given advance notice that SAPS is going to raid Protobac's bond store, where they are doing something in relation to excise tax. And then underneath, Protobac is looking at under entries and penalties of 120 bar. He's saying they're going to be fined 120 million rands for tax evasion or excise tax evasion.
Protobac was not the only one. On 20 April 2021, Khan himself forwards Sayed a SAPS report on an operation against Remington Gold, the primary brand of another competitor, Gold Leaf Tobacco. The register lists 110 cartons of Remington Gold and 50 cartons of Pegasus booked into the SAP 13 store. Sayed says, "Brilliant, brew." Then Khan asks a question that gives the whole arrangement away. Did Green tell you? The General expected that someone called Green would already have briefed the cigarette executive on a raid involving his competitors' brands. Sayed said Green did mention it, just not in this detail.
On the 20th of April 2021, General Khan forwards to Mr. Sayed a SAPS report on a Customs and Excise Act, Tobacco Control Products Act operation, which is against Remington Gold. And we see Remington Gold mentioned at page 452, where the operations, SAPS Parys conducted operations on 1 JJ wholesalers, 2 Delight wholesalers, and the goods seized in Parys SAP 13, in the SAP 13 register, 110 times carton Remington Gold, 50 times cartons, that says Pegasus, I think it's Pegasus, and if you recall from Protobac, one of the Protobac brands was Pegasus. Mr. Sayed's response is, "Brilliant, brew. General Khan says, did Green tell you? And so General Khan expects that someone called Green would already have briefed Mr. Sayed on this raid on one of his competitors, or involving his competitors' brands. And Mr. Sayed said, he did mention to me, but not in this detail.
By 11 June, Sayed is asking Khan directly whether he has anyone at Komati border between South Africa and Mozambique that can check if they intercepted the truck for us. A tobacco executive describing police interceptions at a national border post as a service rendered to him. The updates come back like status reports. A truck intercepted at Bella Bella. Another caught on the far side of the border. And then this. We flagged about 15 trucks of GL, and now it's paying off.
Another operation targeting Remington on the 11th of June 2021, that's at 5969. And there Mr. Sayed says, Slam, do you have anyone at Komati Port, the border between South Africa and Mozambique, that can check if they intercepted the truck for us? So the executive from Carnilinx wants to know from SAPS if they have intercepted a truck for us. Let me ask, the one I sent to Hogg was intercepted in Bela Bela, waiting for feedback. Coffee Fontaine, it's positive, they're busy now. The other truck was caught other side of the border over the page. Bela Bela truck cannot get through to people on scene. We flagged about 15 trucks of GL, that's gold leaf, the Remington company. And now it's paying off. What was on? There's a Y, and then the answer comes Remington Gold. How many cases? Truckload.
Here is where the meaning of all of this comes into focus, because the same chats show the same men reacting very differently when the enforcement pressure turns towards them. While Sayed is cheering raids on Protobac and Gold Leaf, Yusuf Abramji is running a public campaign against illegal tobacco through Tax Justice South Africa. On 7 July 2021, Sayed forwards Khan one of Abramji's posts. It says criminals are looting the nation of billions of rands through tax evading cigarettes, and it quotes Ipsos research showing illegal cigarettes on sale in 41% of shops nationwide. The post uses a measure called the minimum collectible tax, and this is worth 30 seconds of your time because it is one of the simplest fraud tests there is. The minimum collectible tax is the total tax owed on a single pack of cigarettes. If a packet retails below that number, the sums only work one way. The tax was never paid. The retail price sits below the tax alone, never mind the cost of actually making the product. Chaskalson said as much to the Commission. And Abramji's post did point to Gold Leaf, but it also said that the number of Carnilinx brands bought below the minimum collectible tax had rocketed by a third.
Down at 6108, we see a complaint about Gold Leaf tobacco, which Mr. Sayed wouldn't presumably object to. It says brands belonging to Gold Leaf Tobacco Corporation are winning the illegal price war with a number of its South African brands purchased below the MCT. Brands belonging to Gold Leaf are winning the illegal price war with a number of its South African brands purchased below the MCT rising by 25%. The number of brands belonging to Carnilinx bought below MCT has rocketed by a third. And so he's not only pointing a finger at Gold Leaf, he's pointing a finger at Carnilinx, saying that the number of your brands that are purchased below the minimum collectible tax, which means they must be involve tax evasion, has rocketed by a third.
So how does the Crime Intelligence General respond when the data points at his friend's company? Sayed forwards the post with a message.
Abramji going to get effed up, bro. General Khan responds back, yes, F him up, bro. He must stay in his lane. So what we have here, and sorry, Mr. Sayed says 100%. What we have here is a General in crime intelligence, whose job it is to investigate the illegal tobacco industry, agreeing with the executive of a company whose brands on a large scale are being sold below the minimum collectible tax rate, in other words, at a price which must involve tax evasion, that the person raising objections to this state of affairs needs to get effed up and must stay in his lane.
3 months later, in October 2021, Abram G posts again. This time, the research says Carnilinx brands were the most frequently found below the minimum collectible tax at 62%, with a second company at 59%. Abram G announces an explosive report on the crime wave coming soon. Sayed sends it to Khan with the message,
"This P is asking for it, bro." And General Khan says, we can sort it out easily.
A general in crime intelligence discussing a campaigner who is publishing evidence of industrial-scale tax evasion says it can be sorted out easily. Remember what Witness D said Khan was the man to call for. What it means. Chaskalson put the core of it in one sentence. It's not that these laws are not being administered. It's that they are being administered selectively. And that is the insight I want you to take from this video, because it's worse than it sounds. A police service that raids and seizes but allegedly lets a private player choose the targets produces headlines that look exactly like justice. Every one of those SAPS tweets about a successful tobacco raid was technically true. The trucks were real, and so were the arrests. What the public could not see was the selection process. Yesterday's evidence says the selection process allegedly ran through a WhatsApp thread between a general and a cigarette executive. Now let me give you the other side, because Sayed has answered this publicly. He said he never colluded with Khan to get rid of Carnilinx competitors, and that he provided Khan, as the officer responsible for border security, with information about illicit tobacco smugglers. In other words, he says he was an informant doing his civic duty. Test that against the chats. An informant passes information to the police. In these chats, the police information flows to the businessman. An informant does not receive the SAPS seizure register for a competitor's factory, and an informant does not get told what bond store will be hit next week. Khan, for his part, has answered nothing yet. He is entitled to, and the Commission has said it wants him to explain these exchanges under oath. Until then, allegations they remain. And here is where it stops being a story about cigarettes. Wiandre Pretorius is dead. He shot himself at a petrol station in Brakpan in February after being named at this commission in connection with the killing of Emmanuel Mbense. Feroz Khan is in hospital with gunshot wounds, shot roughly 48 hours before he was due to sit in that witness chair. The two men at the center of yesterday's evidence cannot currently speak. One never will. I'm not going to speculate about why. I covered the Khan shooting when it happened, and the questions around it remain open. But I will say this. The chat survived. Phones keep a record of what people would prefer forgotten, and the Commission now holds a record that no hospital bed and no grave can edit. The Madlanga Commission was created to establish whether the criminal justice system has been turned against the public it exists to serve. Yesterday, it presented a general's own messages as evidence, and on the Commission's version, those messages show the enforcement power of the South African Police Service was available for private hire. Don't just know what's happening, understand what it means. Do share this video with someone that you think needs to hear this story, and if you have subscribed, thank you, it really does help the channel. Drop your thoughts in the comments, and I will catch you in the next one.